here struggling to get this in my car. Men are walking back and forth. No one is trying to help me. They don't make real men anymore. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not all men, because there are good men out there. As a woman, like, you don't see men holding doors anymore. They don't help anymore. They rush and sit down on trains and buses before women and pregnant women and elderly are sitting down. It's just a hot.
You could always ask a bear to help.
Why help with the chance of being accused of something? That's not a risk we're willing to take. I'm not sorry. We're done with the disrespect from any kindness we give.
It's like the battle of the sexes when it comes to seats on trains.
Yeah.
I've noticed that men don't really want to be getting up for us anymore.
They don't.
Or they pretend you don't exist. They don't even get up for pregnant women.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's really bad. Like, bring the real men back. How can you see me standing and you're sitting?
It's so bad.
You're a man. You're actually a man.
You're actually a man. You're actually
a man. You know, if this was the Titanic, it would be women and children.
Oh.
and it should be the same with the trains.
Let me tell
women
you
and children. Stand the fuck up.
You women fought so hard for this. You need to go back in time for that kind of treatment. This new man is the product of what women thought they wanted. You just have to deal with it.
Do you know what I actually can't believe? Yesterday I was on the tube coming home and a drunk man got on the tube and he sat next to me originally and was chatting to some other people that had a dog. Oh my God, the bags under my eyes. And then they got off the tube and he was like looking at me and I was just ignoring him. I was just doing my own little thing. Then he moved and sat opposite me on the tube and then he was going, hello. And I just looked at him and was like on my phone, but I looked at him and he was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And he was like, where are you from? You from Italy? And I was like, no. He was like, you from here? And I was like, no, because it was like London. I was like, no, somewhere else. He was like, oh, you're on holiday? I was like, no, just travelling. I was trying to be like just short and like get him to stop speaking to me. And then he was going like, well, he had a beer in his hand and he kept spilling his beer everywhere. And I was just trying to ignore him. And he was like, are you married? And I was like, yeah, I'm married. Obviously not, but I was like, yeah, I'm married. He was like, oh, have you got children? I was like, no. He was like, oh, so you're single then? I was like, no, I'm married. And then he was like, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I'm 20. I was like, if I knock a few years off, maybe he'll leave me alone. As if that would make a difference. And he was like, oh, young. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. Then he just kept like mumbling like Italian words because he thought I was Italian. And I was just like, on my phone, like, and he just would not stop. He was like going, high five me, shake my hand, all this. And then he was like, oh, bye-bye, I'm getting off now. Then he stood up and he was just still looking at me, like just standing there. And then he didn't get off. He sat back down and he was like, oh, not getting off yet, actually. And I was like, oh, okay. While this is going on, there's a bunch of men around me that were English because they were speaking English like a minute ago before he got on. And they were all just ignoring it. They were all just like leaving him to just literally harass me. And then notice like the last stop of the train is where I was getting off. And that's obviously where he was getting off because it was the last stop. So he was like, oh, okay, I'm getting off now. Obviously I hadn't realised it was the last stop. So I said, oh, bye. And I let him get off and I stayed on the tube for a bit just so that he could walk ahead. And like, again, no one said anything to me apart from one girl took her headphones out and she went, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm just like letting him walk ahead for a bit so like he doesn't speak to me anymore. And she was like, oh, I couldn't tell if he was bothering you or not. Like, I appreciate that the girl actually asked me if I was all right and everything, but like the men didn't do anything. Like, chivalry is dead.
Men don't owe you anything. Do you expect us to risk our lives to save a stranger? We've seen too many videos that prove acting like a white knight is just going to get us hurt or even dead. No, thank you. Look at Miss Independent as soon as it's time to carry something. Random strangers don't owe you labor. They're not expecting you to cook them a meal either.
There's no real men anymore in this world, and let me tell you why. Every day after work, I'm like a server, right? Every day after work, I go to this gas station and I gamble. I gamble like $50, $100, who knows? That's my hobby, that's what I do, whatever. I go in there tonight, to gamble, and I put money in a machine, and it took my 20, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna try one of the other ones. And remember, I go in here every night pretty much. So I get up and I go to another machine, and at the same time, this guy got up and was walking towards the cashier for some reason, and he said, don't go to that machine, I'm at that machine. And I was like, I'm not gonna go to your machine, don't worry. And so I go over there, I see a phone on one machine, so I go to one where there's nothing in front of it. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? That's my machine. I said, which one is your machine? The one with the phone? And he's like, all of them are. I don't even know why the fuck you're in here. And I look at the cashier like, you know, excuse me, you know, nothing. Didn't say a freaking word. So of course I stood up for myself because, you know, whatever, there ain't no, I go in there every freaking night, and you're gonna let a man there's like 12 machines, okay? You're gonna sit here and let him have them all? First of all, you can't do that. Come on, that's just freaking manners, okay? And the fact that he didn't say, hey, calm down, you know, whatever, just nothing. He just let him freaking disrespect me. He didn't say a freaking word. I can't, men aren't men anymore. The fact that he was disrespecting me was just on a whole other level. And then the fact that the cashier didn't say a freaking word to him, nothing. I was going in there every night gambling $50 to $100, and now I will never go in there ever again.
So if we stand up for women, it's toxic masculinity. But if we don't stand up for women, we aren't real men anymore. There is literally no winning with you all.
I don't know what's happening in this world, but let me tell you what happened last night. I'm out with my friends, and we're sitting at this restaurant, and this man comes over to chat with me. Okay, fine, whatever. So he and I are having this conversation. My two friends, they decide that they're going to go smoke. Fine. While they are smoking, they notice a woman pushing her own car to a gas station. She'd run out of gas, and she's pushing her car. Like, I don't know who was driving the car, but this woman's pushing her car. So my two friends, super women, they're like, oh, hell no, we're not going to let this girl push this car by herself. So they jump in to help. They're like, you get in and steer, we'll push the car. So they help this woman push the car to the gas station. He and I are oblivious to it because we're talking about whatever we're talking about. They come back and they're like, oh yeah, we just helped this girl push her car to the gas station. And I said, I don't know how I missed that, but didn't any men jump in to help? She goes, oh no. There were men driving by. There were men sitting there watching all three of us. Not one man jumped in to help. What?
Just because we are men doesn't mean we have to slave our lives away for you. What happened to equality? Does equality fly out the window only when you need manual labor? No, it doesn't work that way. If you choose feminism, you have to own it with your full chest.
Be careful when you are traveling because the men do not help you. I've been away for about 3 weeks now, and we have seen some things, okay? Like last night, for example, there was a girl that fell off the ledge of something onto rocks, and men needed to assist in helping her get back up because she was not cooperating, and no one did. Tell me why it took five minutes. Women were rushing over from people screaming and asking for help, and no man stopped to help. And then when one finally did stop and help, there were 2 down there. One of them said, fuck this, walked away. The other one hoisted her up, put her down, and said, I'm not dealing with you anymore, and then walked off. And then when I said, you're a bit of a dickhead, because you are, for speaking to her like that, he then came back and tried to hit me in the face and was like, who are you calling a dickhead? Who are you calling a dickhead? Just be mindful if you're traveling to Europe, Asia, wherever it is that you're going, always make sure that you have a friend with you. And if you are intoxicated or, I mean, honestly, I know that sometimes you can't help it, but just try to not get to that level, because I've seen women get to that level on this holiday and the men don't help.
Who are you to assign jobs based on gender? I'm sure plenty of women are equally capable of helping people who have fallen on rocks. Also, you insulted them and still want help? You need to learn some manners.
We're past the era of men making assumptions that women need help. Because again, that could be considered disrespectful and misogynistic. And so men aren't going out of the way to just lend a helping hand to women because they don't want to be seen as misogynistic.
We don't owe our labor. We don't owe our protection. We don't owe anyone anything. It's the entitlement. You aren't owed anything. Anyway, guys, you can now share your raw, unfiltered experiences about why you went MGTOW. Send them to our email. I'll read them out loud, exposing the reality and waking men up. I've pinned the email in the comments. That's all for today. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, click on the notification bell to know when I drop a new video. Bye.